So this is timed at 22:10 GMT on Saturday, the 30th of November, 2023. This is Saturday, the 30th of November, 2023, and this is the Baby Angel Geronimo Editions Kudila television channel, being edited, presented, hosted by me, Muhammad Haque, the Ved Shah professor. So what are the things that are worthy of discussion on this day based on the contents of the Fleet Street newspapers? There is a front page piece in the tabloid called the Daily Star. It pays tributes to the beavers saving the planet. And there is a center page, inside page, dedication to the beavers saving the planet. On The Guardian, 30th of September 30th of December 2023, the front page piece is headed Courts and NHS will not recover until 2030. Now, both of those are topically relevant issues. To what extent The Guardian gets to tell the truth is another matter altogether. And The Guardian says, IPPR study, that is this Institute for Public Policy Research, study says, next government will inherit huge challenge to restore public services. And the piece is bylined to Rowena Mason, Whitehall editor. Apart from the item about Ukraine, The Guardian doesn't recognize the world. It is as little English as the Daily Mail, the Scum, and the rest of Fleet Street. And as we have been diagnosing, not on television, but on the social media platform, especially the Twitter platform that the Kudila campaign co-publishes, the obscenity of the Times, Murdoch Times, London Murdoch Times, publishing a piece in the magazine, byline to Daisy Goodwin. It's a completely, outrageously narcissistic exhibition of our two breasts. When the breasts hit the headlines, sometime during 2023, they had relevance, they had freshness, and they refreshingly caused a political discussion that led to the resignation, enforced voluntary resignation, if that is possible, by the then front runner to become the elected executive mayor at the expense of people of London, Daniel Korski. Now, Korski is a name that is from the Eastern European part of the continent. And Daniel Korski in 2013 was employed in number 10 Downing Street as a consultant or whatever. And as part of the parks that he had, he invited, it now appears, he invited Daisy Goodwin to a discussion to discuss a possible business project with her. And she attended. And during the actual disclosure, first time published in the Times, Daisy Goodwin said that although covered, Daniel Korski's penis was pointedly aiming at her. So close and so strategically sort of placed was she by him that she could not ignore that. And at the end of the so-called business meeting, Daniel Korski coarsely groped her, touched her breasts, which incident then became the news after Daisy Goodwin broke that story during 2023. But today, 30th of December 2023, this piece about the same breasts, about the same so-called incident, becomes completely the opposite. It's an embarrassment. It comes across as a narcissistic exhibition of Daisy Goodwin's breasts. It's too narcissistic to be extensively condemned because she says that she is a woman in her seventh decade, which would put her parents, her father say, if he was 20 years old when she was conceived and born, then it would be in his 90s. And she is referring to her father in the present tense, saying that her father has a word for her breasts. And then she refers to her daughter. Now, she has more than one daughter. She doesn't specify which of the daughters she is referring to. But she says that her daughter says that if you've got it, flaunt it. Now, these make the piece a celebration of a family that is obsessed with sex, especially Daisy Goodwin's sex, especially so Daisy Goodwin's breasts. Her daughter talks about her breasts, that is Daisy Goodwin's breasts, as does Daisy Goodwin's father in his 90s. This has nothing to do with the moral or democratic kind of impact or the implication that Daisy Goodwin's original disclosures had about her breasts being fondled or touched by Daniel Korski. And I think that instead of keeping quiet about the incident that gave her an additional celebrity status during the news, Daisy Goodwin has actually cancelled out that celebrity status and discarded and become diminished by her own choice, because she's exhibiting those two breasts as if they are commodities, as if they are objects in the worst possible taste. None of the readers reading that piece, not me especially, I don't think that reading about her breasts is at all dignified. I'm not interested in her breasts. And I'm not interested in the narcissistic exhibition of her breasts that Daisy Goodwin has made through the Times. Quite why she would do that, we shall go into during the new year, hopefully. Now, going back to the magazine, which has got the cover of the Times magazine, has got a picture of a black person who is described as the Times crime correspondent, who is talking about the racist police. And his piece is, in comparison with Daisy Goodwin's, much more topical and worthy of consideration. And it's a piece, he says, I've been stopped and searched by the police since I was 16. I still am. And they said the byline is by Times crime correspondent David Wood, spelled with an E at the end. And this is something that is, how shall I put it, is as little English as possible and as typically British imperialistic, racist as it is possible. And the fact that they said that he is the Times crime correspondent, it doesn't make the Times come across as dignified or competent or anti-racist at all. It makes the Times come across as tokenistic and as corrupt and as racist. Because if he is the crime correspondent, then whatever the length of time he has been a crime correspondent, should have witnessed police created racist crimes of criminality that should have been published, but there has been no publication. Not by David Wood, because I have not come across him until this day, today, Saturday, the 30th of November, December 2023. So, the Guardian's piece that the courts and the NHS will be struggling to come to a kind of fitness for purpose for 10 years. Whoever takes over government after the scheduled next election, whenever that election takes place. Now, there is absolutely no way that the Guardian recognizes the stupidity. The Guardian recognizes no stupidity that it publishes in every single issue. As I have pointed out in a previous edition of this Kudila television channel, Baby Angel Geronimo edition, Baby Angel Geronimo editions, the English language being dominant has been the subject of a piece in the journal by an Irish person who is a linguist and who writes a tame and stupid Englishistic promotion of the English language, not a dissection, not a rejection of the English language. So similarly, the Guardian is writing this, publishing the front page piece, which is headed this is the Guardian piece. No, not this one. This one. The Guardian piece is underneath that one. I'll have to find that one. This is a different one. This is the Guardian piece that I'm actually referring to. Courts and NHS will not recover. The courts and the NHS will not recover until 2030, until the 2030s. Now, although the Guardian refers to the two most important kind of institutions, the record of the Guardian is that it doesn't understand the stupidity that it perpetrates, although it has got several pieces every single issue. One way or the other talking about the NHS, one way or the other talking about the legal bureaucracy. The Guardian is as racist, as ignorant, as corrupt as the courts themselves. The Guardian is as incompetent, not fit for purpose, and as corrupt as the NHS itself. The Guardian's coverage of the time of the courts in England is a cover-up. It hides more than it discloses. And the same with the coverage of the NHS. It is sick-makingly ignorant and corrupt and racist. So when it says that the courts and the NHS will not recover until the 2030s, it doesn't say, but that is what it means. The recovery will be delayed until 2030s because of the role being played by the likes of the Guardian. Because they're stupid, they're ignorant, they're ill-informed, and they're callous and they're careless, and they're not engaged with the actual evidence. For example, in a typical London hospital, a typical shift in the morning, it's a charade. A shift is charade staged in that ward, let's say a ward in a London hospital, including or containing about 3 surgeons or consultants. They enter the ward, say, having 5 or 6 beds, and they kind of run. They run from one bed to the other, muttering about 5 or 6 words, and then doing the rounds and then leaving. That's what the consultants do. When it comes to the auxiliary staff, they are absolutely ill-trained, ignorant, and they have nothing but contempt for the resident so-called patients. And the nurses, let's say there are a number of nurses assigned to each ward. The nurses are corrupt. The nurses are absolutely racist. And the nurses are completely devoid of any engagement with the idea or the concept of care, let alone engaging in the delivery of caring, nursing to the patients. Now, none of these things that I have just listed has anything to do with the lack of resources. It is to do with the lack of humanity, let's say, lack of caring humanity in the personality of the consultants, and the auxiliary staff, and the nurses. How does the Guardian see that? Looking at the contents of the Guardian's coverage of what goes on daily on the NHS, there is no sign that the Guardian understands that this is what goes on. And the same applies to the courts. That is the law courts, the courts where the judiciary sits. As we have been running this series of Baby Angel Geronimo editions of Kudila television programs, we have been focusing on the behavior and the role of the High Court judges named as Griffiths and Murray, and the County Court judge called Leighton. But it's Griffiths that we have been focusing more on than any of the others. And Griffiths is the one that we have condemned based on his dishonesty and his corruption and his stupidity. So we shall be coming back to the theme in the next editions. Ending this one, obviously this one is 21 minutes and 45 seconds. We shall be coming back in due course.